Hey guys, Zaphod here with this week's edition of the comic strip. This is a huge week for me, so I actually did not get through everything. I'm adjusting to a new schedule at work, so I'm getting really tired because I have to get up at 8 when I used to be able to sleep in. So I haven't been quite as up to reading all of my comics, which is something that I love doing, so I apologize that I didn't get everything read tonight, but we're gonna get through it with what we have. So let's get started. Okay, so I read a couple comics at work. First off, I checked out Adventure Time, the Banana Guard Academy #2. This is such a fun, everything Adventure Time is delightful. This series is just super fun. I was laughing really hard at one point. My boss was making fun of me, so it's just delightful, ridiculous. It's a good time. If you like Adventure Time, it's gonna be great. Then next up, the other one that I read at work this week is Daredevil #7. As you can see in this corner, it says that's an Original Sin tie-in. I'm not actually reading the Original Sin main series, but I didn't really see any tie-in things. So if you are collecting Original Sin all, it's not really an essential issue for that. But if you're collecting Daredevil, don't freak out just because it says Original Sin. It barely ties in if it does at all. But it's a really good touching issue, so it's still worth reading. Even if it's not really part of the Original Sin thing. It might have like a panel and I just don't get it. But and then I always like to save comics for home that I want to spend a little bit more time with. So I started off with Multiversity. This is a new comic by, well, newish. He's been working on it for a really long time. It's by Grant Morrison. This first issue is by Ivan Reis, but they're going to have different artists on each issue. It takes place in the DC universe, but the DC multiverse as it is, and the multiverse is in danger, so the best heroes from the 52 worlds of the multiverse are being united to help fight this, which is, it's really cool, it's really weird, it's like kind of like I expected. It's Grant Morrison, so it's awesome and it's weird. So if you like Grant Morrison, definitely check this out. If you haven't been a fan of him in the past, it is still definitely in the Grant Morrison style, and it's still definitely very Grant Morrison weird. So if that doesn't appeal to you, maybe this comic won't, but I loved it. It's fun, it's crazy, they have all these cool different worlds, and I just really enjoyed. It's very strange, and it's such a unique comic, and I love it, and I really want to see what's going to happen next. And also really, really cool, big new #1. This is The Fade Out by Ed Brubaker and Shauna Phillips. This is kind of a big deal because these two guys signed a 5-year contract with Image where it's pretty much they can do whatever they want with no oversight. Image has worked with these guys for a long time. They trust them, so they just said, hey, guys, put out some books you want to do. They can do whatever they want, and it'll all be pushed through, and there's nobody there to tell them no or to, you know, tell them, oh, maybe we shouldn't do that. They get to do whatever they want, and The Fade Out is the first title that they're doing with this, and it's really cool. It's very mystery noir in it focuses on a character, Charlie. He works at a big movie studio. One night he goes to a wild party, he forgets what happens, and somebody turns out dead. And he has to figure out what's going on. It's really cool. The style's great. Obviously, if you've read anything by the two of them, you know it's going to be really, really cool and interesting. If you haven't, just check out some of the art, because it's really cool. Hold on, let me show you. So we've got just some really cool pages here. It really suits the style, the very noir feel to it. I really, really like it, so I'll definitely be continuing with this one. And then we have one of my favorite books, which I always just go on and on about, Ms. Marvel. I love this. This is not just one of my favorite books from Marvel or from the big two. This is one of my favorite books that's coming out, period, and it's always such a joy and a delight to read. This is, she's continuing with the fill-in artist that they've had, Wyatt. He's still really good, a little different, and you're continuing with the Wolverine team-up from last issue, which is delightful and just makes my heart so happy. Then we have Batman and Robin, #34, part 2 of Robin Rises. Things are really, really hyping up here, and nothing can really come between a father and a son, especially when your father's fucking Batman and he can do pretty much whatever he wants. Things are getting really cool. There's some really good moments between members of the Bat family in this issue and last issue. So I'm excited because it's go in really cool, crazy, awesome directions. Then we have an issue we haven't seen for a little while. We have Umbral number 8. We have not seen an issue of this since April, so you wouldn't have seen it in the videos recently. But it's really cool. I'm really happy to see this come back. The group is all out on the run, and there's just beautiful art, really good story. Since it has been a few months, I would like to go back and reread the last couple of issues just because I do like the story so much. It's really cool, very fantastical world, just this awesome, unique, very different, very unique world, and I love it, and it's very cool. And Christopher Mitten does just gorgeous work in it. Then we have up issue 3 of The Wicked and the Divine. This has been a really fast one that people have been just jumping on. The list at our store has jumped up very quickly on this one, and it's because it's great. This issue, you get to meet a couple more members of the Pantheon, a couple that you see a little bit more than others. The panels in this are just so cool and crazy, and there's all this stuff going on, and it's just a very different, very cool story that I'm really enjoying. And then a series that's getting a little bit actually very close to its ending, Translucid, issue 5 of 6. We're at the penultimate issue here. It's kind of cool because I'm actually going to go see Coheed and Cambria here in September in Seattle. And so I think, depending on when the last issue comes out, I might actually get to see them before the issue drops, which will be fun. Everything's just building and getting crazy, and you're seeing flashes back to the past, to the future, between the Navigator and the Horse, back to Cornelius. All this crazy stuff's happening, and the colors in this book is just so vivid and so bright and so incredible, and I really like the colors in his just very bold style. So very cool. I'm really looking forward to the conclusion of this one. Then, speaking of conclusions, we have the conclusion to the arc of Batman Eternal. This is issue 20. This is going to be the last issue in the first collected book. 20 issues, huge thing. I think it's gonna be like $40, I think. And the arc, great. The last 2 pages just made me so happy. If you guys know anything about me from watching my videos, when you read this, you'll understand completely why I'm happy, but I don't want to give it away, so just yay stuff that makes me nerdy and excited, so yay! Bring it back down. Alright, let's continue. We have Ghost Rider number 6. You see the front cover art is by Tradd Moore, but the interior art is now by Damian Scott, because as I mentioned last time, Tradd's going back to Luther Strode, which is a very cool thing. He's a very different style than Tradd Moore, because there's only one Tradd Moore out there. Let me just kind of show it to you guys here. Let me find a good page. Okay, here's a good page, a lot of stuff going on. So we've got his style. It's definitely different, but it is still very much the creator-owned, unique style. And as far as translating to Ghost Rider, I think it's a really good fit for the book. It's not Tradd Moore, but it's really cool, and it has its own unique perspective. And I really, after the first couple pages being like, oh, it's not Tradd Moore, I really got into it. I do really quite like the art style of this, so it's definitely worth continuing. For those of you who are a little sad that he was leaving, still continue to give it a try. At least I would recommend that, because I really did quite like the art in this one. Then we have the first of my Warren Ellis books for the night, Trees number 4. This issue has a lot more character development in like 3 different regions of the world. You are slowly, mostly through the people, learning a little bit more about these trees. This is definitely going to be kind of one of those slow burn stories where it takes a little while to build up, but once it gets there, I have a feeling that it's really going to get really crazy and really good. And his books tend to seem to be that way, where you kind of got to give it some time to get to know it and get the feel of it, and then something awesome and crazy will happen. I'm really enjoying every issue as it's coming out, but those of you who are like, oh, maybe it's moving a little slow, stick with it. I guarantee he will reward you for this, and it's great. There's awesome character development. Just because there's not a lot happening with the trees themselves doesn't mean it's not a hell of a good book and that it's not going to get crazy at some point, because I guarantee you it will. So just hang out with me while that happens. It's gonna be fun, and it's really good. And Jason Howard's art has just gotten so astounding. Like, since Wolfman, it's just been it's so cool, and it's developed, and his line art's just gotten really good. So please stick with this with me, because it's gonna be awesome, and it is awesome. All right, Then we have Batwoman, number 34 here. And this is, I don't want to tell you guys too much. It was a little bit of a tearjerker for me, but I cry a lot, so that maybe doesn't mean anything. But it was a really good, really from the heart issue, and I quite enjoyed it, and it kind of gives you a little bit of a tease as to what might be happening in the Future's End issue coming up, which will be interesting. Then we have a relatively new book from DC. We've got their new Teen Titans number 2 here. This is just a very fun book. I really like Rockeford's art style. It's very cool. It's my favorite part about the book. It's a fun story. It's very very internet savvy. It has a lot of memes. There's a Beast Boy turns into Grumpy Cat at one point, for example. They have a lot of references to Twitter, or Chirper as they call it. So it's very young feeling, and I am enjoying it. It's very fun. Not necessarily a very deep book, but it's a fun one, and I'm enjoying seeing how it's developing. I don't know if you guys have heard me talk about this. I have a really hard time with teen books staying committed to all the characters, or I often lose interest because there's only 1 or 2 characters I care about. I'm definitely going to see where this one goes because it's fun so far. I don't know how long I'll keep with it just because I'm really bad at staying with teen books, but so far I'm really enjoying it, and the art especially is really holding this book together, and the art is really awesome. Then we have my second Warren Ellis book of the week, Supreme Blue Rose number 2. This is a very cool, very trippy, weird book. There's a lot of, past, present, future stuff going on, maybe. There's a lot of... It's definitely building towards something, and there's a lot of stuff going on that sometimes maybe seems like it's disconnected, but I think it's all going towards something, and I have no idea what, but it's progressing very interestingly, and it's very cool to see it in the art style, and it's very different from his Trees book, both very interesting and engaging, but very different stories. Both awesome. Really digging Wild Supreme Blue Rose right now. Then we have up Stray Bullets Killers number 6. And this is continuing with the Virginia and Eli story. They're actually, they're getting a lot closer. I actually want to go back, especially after reading this. I'm really enjoying this. I really want to go back and read the original Stray Bullets series, which I never have, but my understanding is that they have a lot of Virginia's backstory of her growing up, and kind of a tragic backstory as it is. So I really want to go and check that out and get more of a feel for the character, because I love this book. And this is coming from somebody who I had a terrible preconceived notion just because he worked on Crossed, and I've flipped through Crossed. It's not my thing, but I just kind of had a bad impression of David LaFamme just from that. I'm like, he works on Crossed. I'm whatever. But I like Garth Ennis, so I don't know what my thing was, because once I've started reading his books, he's really awesome, and he's a writer and an artist, and he does his own thing, and he does it amazingly well. And so I'm kind of pissed at myself for just initially being like, he's just one of those Crossed guys who just writes torture porn or whatever. And I've heard they have good stories, so I just get scared easily and don't like that kind of thing. But his stuff is awesome, and I really like it. I don't know if I'll ever check out Crossed, but I definitely like his creator-owned stuff, and Stray Bullets is really doing it for me right now. So the last full issue that I read tonight was my last number 1 for the week, Little Nemo Return to Slumberland. I've never read Little Nemo before. I know the basic concept. He goes to Slumberland at the end of every issue. He wakes up, and he's back in his bed. And this kind of continues with that. The princess is looking for a new playmate, and it's another boy with the middle name of Nemo, but not named Nemo. And it's very fun. It's by Eric Shanauer, the guy who did the Marvel Oz books, and he's actually a really good Oz historian. He and his partner founded Hungry Tiger Press that does a lot of the reprints of Oz books, which is cool. And then we have art by Gabriel Rodriguez, who is awesome. So it's really fun, really great. It's an all-ages title. I really like it, even without having read any of the previous stuff. So I highly recommend it if you want to read it with your kids, or if you just want to read it, because I read all the Oz books by myself, and I have no kids, but I like this. I like having happy, fun stuff to read, and this is exactly what that is. And it's great. So I kind of have the sleepy beast upon me, so I didn't actually dig in fully to this issue, but I was really excited. This week we have a new Dark Horse Presents anthology, and Dark Horse knows how to give you a good deal. This is over 50 pages, and it is, let's see, $4.99. No other publisher is going to give you that. It'll be $7.99 at any other publisher, and it jumps straight in with a really, really cool Jeff Darrow, which that was the first thing I was like, I'm too tired to give this the love it deserves right now, because his art is so detailed and so incredible, and it's just crazy and awesome. So you guys should pick up anthologies if you don't already. They're short stories, you just get different excerpts from different points of view from different creators, and they're usually really awesome. And the Dark Horse Presents ones are always great. They usually win like Eisner Awards. Yeah, it won the Eisner Award and the Harvey Award in 2012 and 2013. It usually wins because it's great, and they get great creators together, great story. The paper feels awesome. It's thick. It's over 50 pages. So at the very least, you're getting a great deal for like 8 great stories. So you should check it out. I had a couple other issues that I did not get to this week. I had Black Market and a couple other things that I'm gonna read tomorrow, but I'm just too pooped right now, so I hope you forgive me. But that's it for me this week, guys. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, or if you want to talk about comics, if you have any recommendations, or if you'd like any recommendations, just drop them in the comments below. I'd love to talk to you guys. So until next week, have a good one.